Okay, I'm a pretty firm believer in medical supplies, carrying medical supplies on a daily basis, because quite frankly, you never know what's going to happen. Every day I commute to work. I'm in 3 different train stations. I have to climb or descend at least 2 flights of stairs in every station, and at some point I saw someone, it was a woman, she fell down, she rolled down the stairs, she hit someone else in the calves. I mean, if it wouldn't have been sad, it would have been funny. Fortunately, everything went well, but things go wrong. And don't get me wrong, I'm not prepared to fight World War III, because if that happens, I'm going to die. It's that simple. But fairly straightforward, simple injuries occur. I am not the handiest of persons. I cut myself, I hit myself, I do all kinds of stuff. So I like to carry a couple of medical items. Today I'm going to show you my basic medical gear. On my bag I always carry a big medical pouch, which is full of medical equipment. I'll cover that in a later video. Today what I'll do is I'll show you the thing that is always in my pocket, my coat pocket, my personal medical gear. We're going to cover that now and see what it's all about. Okay, let's have a look at my medical pouch. The contents of this have been revised in the time period that I've been using it, and it's actually been in a couple of different pouches, these contents. I finally settled for this one, and I absolutely love this pouch. This is a Maxpedition 4x6, so roughly 4 by 6 inches, and I absolutely love it. It's not too thick, which means you can put it in your coat pocket and not have a super bulky thing to carry with you. And Maxpedition just makes great pouches. I really love the guys. It's a triple polyurethane coating, which means that if you take water, you put it on, you see that? It just beats on and just rolls off. And yes, of course, some things like your paracord, zipper pulls and stuff, yeah, they will get wet, but as to waterproofness, I think these guys have really nailed it. Okay, so let's see what's in here. I carry this around it. I'm still in the process of debating of whether or not I should put this in another spot. This is just a thick or fairly broad orange ribbon with Fastex buckle on it and a little bit of just electrical tape. If you're in an emergency, you have to signal, and then at least you have some bright orange stuff you can put on a tree or whatever. And in a pinch, you could use this as a tourniquet. If you need to apply pressure to a wound to make sure you stop bleeding. Okay, so you can take that off. Now let's look at the things on the outside first. Here is more than 1 meter of paracord, which I've put in a Cobra weave. I've left these little bits sticking out so that I can quickly open it up, get the knots out, and I have my paracord. Again, tourniquet in an absolute pinch, marking stuff, it's bright orange, tying something together, all kinds of purposes. Good thing about this pouch is that it has a big popper here, so you can just take this stuff off. This comes from newfrog.com. It's a sort of Chinese wholesale site. It's just a pill container, and this has a paracetamol in it, which is just a basic analgesic, so a painkiller. Very simple, but it works. So I got that. Then on this side I have 2 items. First of all, it has MOLLE webbing, so you could put this thing on a bag too. Here I have a B.R.E. Scout knife. This was a gift from Zach. Thank you, Zach. Really cool knife. This thing is razor sharp. So if you need a knife, you've got this. It's very tough and durable. It has a back lock, which is very good. Serrated edge as well as plain edge. Very cool knife, and as you can see, very flat. So I always have that on there. Here I have a Bear Grylls pocket light. This thing is super useful and quite bright. It has 2 brightness settings as well as a flash. I'll switch it off so I don't give you epileptic seizures. So 3 settings, and on the brightest setting this thing actually provides quite a bit of light, which is very useful. So although this is basically a medical pouch, it also has a few survival items in them, because I carry it anyway. Okay, you've got this front pouch, and in there I carry a pair of gloves. These are just, these, if I'm not mistaken, they're actually not latex, but they are nitrile, which is good if people have latex allergies. Now we have a zippered pocket, and in that is a couple of things. There is the B.R.E. Priorities of Survival Pocket Guide, which comes with all the B.R.E. products from Gerber. It's printed on a type of plasticky stuff. It's not really paper, so if this gets wet, it won't deteriorate. You've got basic navigation skills, how to set snares, how to make knots, how to purify water, how to get it, to collect it, how to make a fire, those kinds of things. It even has a little ruler on it, which I think is quite cool. So this takes up no space, and it's good to have. Then we have weatherproof matches and a striker. Again, this is more of a survival item than a medical item, although in a pinch you can sterilize tweezers with it. Here we have a basic pocket first aid guide. Stuff, what to do. It is in Dutch, but that's because I am Dutch. It's useful. I've taken a first aid course. I think everyone should do that. It's usually not super expensive, and even if it is expensive, if it allows you to save the lives of someone you love, I would say it's worth it. So here you go. And that, yes, that concludes our business here. Strong YKK zippers. This is heavy duty stuff. I love it. Then you got the main compartment. Paracord pull on the zipper, which I like a lot. That's how you get it. In principle, these are weatherproof zippers. You see they're actually covered up, which means that, again, water, put it on there, it'll just bead off. And yes, this is textile, so yes, it will get a little wet, but hey, dry it off, it's going to dry quickly. Contents should be pretty safe. Okay, I open up this compartment. It's quite full, so that takes a little bit of effort, but here we go. Alright, so in there are a couple of items. I carry them in separate Ziploc bags, and I'm just going to open them up and then I'll show you what's in there. So what we have in here is quite a bit of moleskin. Moleskin, useful when you walk a lot. I do that, sometimes I have to walk quite a bit for my worker stuff. You got it, and here you got some more. If you've got blisters, you can put this on, great stuff. Here we got some sterile gauzes, good to cover up wounds. Non-adherent pads, 2 inches by 3 inches. And finally we got another sterile non-woven sponge, which is always good for cleaning wounds, or, you know, if necessary, apply pressure and stop bleeding. Here is my, you see everything's in Ziploc bags, right? So if this gets wet, you know, the pouch gets wet, even though it should be fairly water repellent, nothing is completely waterproof, so even if it gets wet, the stuff, the contents, don't actually get wet themselves. Here we got an antiseptic wipe. Here we got these stuff. I picked these up from my pharmacy. It's not that expensive. Alcohol prep pads. Now we have some antiseptic swabs and more alcohol prep pads. Now these prep pads are very, very useful. Not only do they allow you to clean a wound, but from a survival perspective, it's alcohol, right? So you can use them to start a fire. It burns very well as tinder. Just gonna try and put this back in so they don't create too big of a mess, if you don't mind. Alright, what else have we got in there? So you can see it's fairly organized. You have, I'll show you that later when it's empty, it's a bit easier, but you got a main compartment and 2 side pouches. Here we have Band-Aids. Now I'm not going to take all of these out. These are just various types of Band-Aids. Smaller ones, bigger ones, a couple of butterfly closures if you have a fairly gaping wound. You know, various Band-Aids, various sizes, always good to have. This is something I really use the most, because you get a cut, even if it's just a paper cut, it can be annoying if you can't stop bleeding straight away. It's useful to have, even in, you know, office survival. And that is what I do most. I try to survive in an office environment. Okay, I have 1 roll of bandage. It's just bandage. combine it with one of the little sterile gauzes to take care of a bigger wound if you know there's not medical attention straight away. And I mean, hey, if you got a somewhat bigger cut, you don't need to go to the hospital straight away, if you can just apply a bandage yourself. So again, learn how to use it and dress your wounds. Clearly, if your arm's off, you're going to need some serious medical attention. Here's a small pair of scissors. Yep, they're small, but they get the job done of cutting band-aids or bandages, etc. These are not really suited for cutting clothes, because they don't have the little protector ball that will protect someone's skin, although they do have rounded off edges. So I guess in an absolute pinch I could use it to cut someone's clothes off, but I'm not really expecting I'll ever have to do this. It's more of a comforting thing to have if you need to cut a bandage or something to size. Alright, here we've got sting relief. If you're bitten by a bee or whatever, or you know some insect that hurts a bit, you can always use this. It also has a couple of basic painkillers in them, single-use packages, and it has the what do you call that? The instructions for the painkillers that I've shown you in the little compartment thing, just so you know how many to take, etc. In my bigger pouch, the one that's on my bag, I also have anti-diarrhea stuff, so I have some more medication, but as I said, I'm not going to go through that pouch today. Alright, then there's the final items here. A bottle of disinfectant, always good to have this, it's always useful. A small bottle like this, it weighs almost nothing and it's good to have. And again, if you're really interested in survival, it is a type of alcohol, so it's going to burn. Easier to help you start a fire. Squirt this in a fire and it may just burn just a bit longer. In here I have a little, these are actually three things. This is electrical tape, which is just wound around it. If you need some electrical tape, you know, if you are in an absolute disaster, there's no medical attention, you could use that to tie a small wound together, you know, just put it on. Is it good? No. Is it clean? Not necessarily. Is it messy? Absolutely. But if it's a matter of either having severe hemorrhaging or stopping it with some electrical tape, I know what I'm going to do. Alright, then you have a plastic container. There's a little bit of electrical tape on this to keep it shut. Put that on my tripod there. And in here is this beautiful precision forceps. Very small item. These are very pointy, and they are excellent for removing thorns, splinters, whatever small things from your skin. The reason I left them in this little plastic tube, they came in, first of all, of course, protection, right, to keep this thing in tip-top shape. But imagine you're walking in the forest and you suddenly get a tick, right? Ticks can be annoying little bastards. With this thing you can take it off, and then you can put it in there, close that up, put some tape around it, and then you have your tick. If any medical testing needs to be done to see if it was infected, then you have the little animal with you, right? Which can be a good thing. And also just a little bit of electrical tape to keep that shut. Alright, well finally what I've got in here is two large safety pins just stuck in there, and this is just an idea to give you an overview of the bag. You see you've got this big main compartment, and then you have a little pouch on the side and a little pouch on that side, and that is the entire thing. The only thing that I have left in here is this roll of medical tape, and in there a button compass. A compass, it may be exaggerated, but first of all it fits in there perfectly well, which is extremely cool, and secondly it never hurts to have a compass, right? I mean, it doesn't really it's not really a bad thing. I'm just going to put that down. It's not the world's greatest compass, but I do know that that is due north, and I do know that that's due south. It'll get me in the rough direction, right? And that's all I need. So there you go, my medical kit. If I put that all down, not very organized, but then you see that there's quite a bit of stuff that just all fits nicely into that one pouch. It's just a bit of security. I know that I have it. I know that it's there when I need it. And if I have a wound, and I actually have used this thing quite a bit, so I don't think it's ridiculous to carry this around. I hope this was useful. One tip, I have a coat with fairly large pockets, and this 4x6 fits in there quite nicely, but if it's too big for you, there's also such a thing as a Maxpedition 3x5, and as you can see, that is just the smaller brother, and it's a similar thing, also with the little flaps and the little zipper, same material, same setup with the 3 little pockets on the inside. I have used this too for medical stuff, and it works fine. You can cram a lot of stuff in here as well. So just a little suggestion. Guys, I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.